Yeah, wish Stephanie. Okay, so I just finished my HSK listening practice for the day, and there's a couple of things I want to update you on. One is somebody recommended to me recently Get Things Done method of organizing your stuff, because I've got my hands in a lot of different projects right now, both personally, professionally, and passion project wise, and it was getting a bit overwhelming. And I just want to say I highly recommend that method. As with all methods, I'm tweaking it a bit to my own needs, but I'm actually getting more done because I'm putting the information somewhere that I see it, as opposed to in all these places that are really overwhelming. So part of that is making a list of all of the things that I want to do study-wise and YouTube-wise on a weekly basis and checking them off as I go. And so my goal right now is to get back in the habit of doing 3 HSK1 listenings per week from this book. I have about 4 lessons left of, 4 listenings left of HSK1, and then I've got the HSK2 book also. I do need to do the worksheets in here as well, I think, but the listening is by far the hardest part for HSK1 for me, so I'm really focusing on those. I hope to do more than 3 next week, but to get back in the rhythm, especially since I'm at 11 of 15, it's really hard listening for me, so I want to do 3 and get used to it and start figuring out how to carry it around a little bit so I can listen to it more during the day, not just when I'm sitting at home. Alright, so yeah, that's what I wanted to show you for that. Now, the listening, and because of that list that is highly visible and very short in comparison to the other lists I was trying to work off of that were really overwhelming, I was inspired to check off the listening for today. And it's been a couple of days. Today is Tuesday, and I did my last listening on Sunday, and so that feels like a good pace to get back in the habit of doing it every other day. So I did lesson 11, and there's 3 parts of the HSK listening. The first part is the pictures, and you write if what they're saying is true. Like if they say she is happy and she's happy, you write a check, and if they have a frowny face person, you write an X. That part is still very easy. I got 5 out of 5 on that one. The only thing that's tripping me up is the word dian ying, which is movie. I keep hearing as can ding, which is to watch something. It's not even a full thing actually, because can dian ying would be to watch a movie, I think. So I'm missing a syllable in my mishearing. So that I've noticed that about 2 or 3 times throughout the entire listening. So I don't know if that's a matter of them swallowing sounds or blending sounds or something like that I'm not used to, but I did make a giant note of that here so that I know in the future to listen for that, so I can get used to how that sounds. So that part was super easy. Part 2 is they give you more pictures, and there's nothing here. You have to listen to the dialogue that's happening and write down which of the A, B, C, D, E, F is matches that. This particular chapter, I think, is focused on what is the time now, which is information or vocabulary that I don't generally have. I have those time words I showed you in the previous video of like yesterday, today, tomorrow, but I don't really have time. But it seems like time is pretty easy. At least, like, Badian, why am I squinting? Hold on. Like for 8 o'clock, 8:50, I think this is, Badian, and excuse my tones, I'm still not, great at this, but Badian Wu Shu Fun. Fun is 8:50, I think. So Badian is 8 o'clock, and Wu Shu is 50. Fun is minutes, I think. So that's pretty easy. That's pretty easy, in fact. So that wasn't the hardest part of this lesson at all. The hardest part is I tripped up on Dian Ying again, and I forgot that San Tian is 3 days. But I wrote it down in pinyin without the tones, but I forgot what it meant, so I put a question mark by it. So I think the thing that helps me the most with these listenings, especially this high up in the book, is when I have a difficulty, I write down that it was hard, or I write question marks, or I write notes so I can go back. For example, in part 3, so in part 2, I did part 2, 5 out of 5. So I did really well on the first 2 parts, and I feel like I understood what was happening, not just kind of guessing by keyword. So I feel like I knew what was going on. But in part 3, I wrote here, it was really hard to read the transcript. So when I go back and review, when I finish all 15 listenings for this book, I want to go back and revisit the ones that I specifically wrote were really hard and see if they're a little bit easier. So there's things like that. And next to individual exercises, I wrote really hard here, and I wrote, hey, is this conversation about drinking tea? Is this going to Beijing? So I write little notes on it so I can quickly like listen and go, and I write here, I think I'm pretty sure it is now, but I wrote, is that minutes? Question mark. So instead of struggling or giving up, I'm just writing questions all over my notes. And I hope to go back and look at the questions eventually. So that kind of puts the frustration and the fear of not learning down on the paper, and then I put it away in this handy dandy folder, which is where I've torn out all of the individual lessons, and I put them in here. And I hope to review those at some point. And the way that the frequency of study has gotten back on track, I think that's actually going to happen. So I'm pretty excited about that. But yeah, this transcript for part 3 was impenetrable to me today. There were just so many words within the sentences that I just were not automatic to me. So I got 3 out of 5 on the actual listening, but I don't feel like I really understood what was happening in a lot of the conversations. So I definitely do want to go back and look at that. And just to give you an idea of what was being said, these 2 are the ones that I got wrong, but this is what I'm trying to do. So what's happening that is somewhat frustrating for me, but probably very realistic for HSK1, is that I'm writing my notes in Pinyin. Wait, where is some Pinyin? Oh, this is super messy, right? But when I write notes, it's in Pinyin without tones, and the information on the website for the book is all in Hansa characters only, which is great for my reading because that's my main focus, right? But then I look at my Pinyin and I match it with this, the Hansa characters. So it's a little bit of a disconnect in HSK1, but I think I'll catch up with time on writing, or at least getting the characters close enough that I'll recognize them on HSK, by HSK2 or 3 or whatever. So I think that will catch up with time. And again, my focus is on reading, not writing, so it's fine. I think it's fine. I either need to start putting the tones in my Pinyin, or I need to start writing the Hansa characters. But because I'm listening, it's hard to listen and remember how to write the characters at the same time. So I don't know that I really want to go to town on practicing writing the characters very much right now, because there's so much other stuff happening and I don't want to demotivate myself yet again. So there's that. So overall, I mean, 5, 10, 13 out of 15 is not bad, not bad. I've still got about a month before the test I hope to take. Hopefully I'm going to get to register this week, yay! So I'm on track. So how many listenings is that? So if I go to my handy dandy checklist, listening I did on the 25th, and today's the 27th. So HSK listenings, I gave myself 3 spaces, so I only have 1 more this week, and it's only Tuesday. So I might actually do a 4th one this week by accident. But I've got a lot of catch up to do with my flashcards that I'll update you on in another video. But I'm pretty excited. I mean, it's super overwhelming. The listening was the hardest thing to get back on track with, because the blending that they do in the listening, although it's still probably slower than real life Chinese speaking, it's fast enough for me that it's pretty overwhelming compared to how slow I read when I'm looking at my flashcards and looking at sentences. So it's a bit of a shock to come back to, but it is necessary on so many levels for me to get used to this. Despite the fact that my goal is to read, not to speak so much, it's still something that, since it's on the test and since it's part of the language, I might as well work on it. And it does make the flashcard learning a little bit spicier and more interesting and more motivating. It fleshes that out a little bit. So I'm not going to fight it at all. I'm actually embracing the listening. I hope to make like little cheat cards that I can carry. I have a little case for my Metro card, so I hope to kind of put it in there, and then when I'm on the Metro, I can pop in my headphones and listen to these same things and look at the little card of the listening, and it's kind of just be able to do that more on a daily basis than just when I sit down to do an intense study at home. I hope to be able to do more of mini listenings during the day, just again to get used to the blending, get used to the sounds. Oh, there's a neighbor. Yay! Anyway, get used to the sounds of the language, not the sounds of the construction. So that's that. So listening wise, it's going really, really well. Even if I just do 3 a week until the test, for HSK1, I'm good. For HSK2, I have no idea. I'm not touching that book for a couple more weeks because that test isn't until May. So that is my listening update for this week. What did you do for your listening for Chinese? Did you stick straight to the HSK stuff, which feels very comfortable and doable for me? Comprehensible input and all that kind of stuff, or did you do other stuff? I've tried Realia a few times, and it's super hard for me right now, but I'm open to any other resources that you may have found that helped you, especially if it's something mobile that I can carry around and use just anywhere I go, so that I don't have to have a book and listening together. Although I'm very, very visual, I'm very, very visual, so it'd be good if there was a transcript that I could look at while I'm listening to it. Anyway, thank you for your ideas, suggestions, comments, feedback, and general support. Satyen!